sell it to them.
But that's quickly changing. Hundreds of thousands of outdated computers and other electronic equipment end up at places like this. United Recycling Industries in Chicago understands the machines may be obsolete, but they still have something to offer. The high-tech junkyard is a relatively new phenomenon. In the 1950s and 60s, few computers existed. But the ones that did were a treasure trove of precious metals. Gold connectors, silver wire insets, and copper circuit boards were the brains of these electronic thinking machines.
You had a mainframe computer that would take up 15,000 square feet. By the time you throw in the CPUs, the generators, the coolers, and everything else, you're 20,000 square feet for something that had like 20 meg of memory. Back in the 60s and 70s, a ton of printed circuit boards probably had 30 to 40 ounces of gold. A good circuit board today is probably 8 to 9 ounces per ton of material. So while there is a lot of gold in this material, it's only there because you have so much volume.
That volume is due in part to the personal computer revolution of the early 1980s. Driving this explosive market was the tiny integrated circuit. These chips were the power behind the marvelous machines. Unfortunately, many early scrappers continued to focus on the precious metals, never realizing the real money was in reselling the chips. Some brand new chips are worth hundreds of dollars, and the used ones can work just as well.
You could have a board that had 25, 50 cents worth of gold and $2,000 worth of integrated circuits. It was mind-boggling. And we were just merrily going along our way, you know, your $300, $500 gold price at 9 ounces, 10 ounces per ton, and throwing away $20,000 per ton in circuits. So in 1990, we got smart real fast.
Today, electronic junkyards are more savvy. The machines that enter these recycling plants are picked. Nothing is taken for granted, and nothing is wasted.
The circuit boards behind me were all manually extracted out of electronics equipment. In this phase here is where we would remove the individual circuits themselves. These are almost like black gold. After this step, the printed circuit board is then sent on for recovery: gold, silver, platinum, and palladium.
Once everything of value is removed, the machines are sent to the crusher.
Scrap equipment is loaded into the bin tipper, which is then dumped out onto the conveyor belt. That is loaded into a primary shredder, which is a 750 horsepower shear. Material then is reduced down into 4-inch strips.
A series of grinders further reduce the printers, copiers, and computers into pieces the size of a quarter. Shakers and sorters separate the material. The final stream is sent across a device called an eddy current. The eddy current, a kind of magnet in reverse, charges the metal pieces and throws them from the conveyor belt. The metal leaps into a special bin while the remaining plastic rolls off. What was once thousands of dollars of digital is transformed into pennies worth of plastic, glass, and copper. All those pennies do add up, but the financial gain is only a small part of the electronic recycling equation. That's because relatively few computers are recycled, and the National Safety estimates that 500 million will be packed into American landfills between 1997 and 2007.
Everybody in the government knows that the environmental problems from electronic scrap is a nightmare. Even the White House has somebody who is on electronic recycling on a committee for the president. Everybody knows this is a nightmare. If it hasn't already happened, it's right.
And it's not the first time Americans have faced this kind of nightmare.